For this very last video on streams, I want to talk about three what I call query-based stream methods. Okay, so for example, let's say that I want to design a method called contains only positives. So if we give it a list of integers, and I want to return whether any of those numbers are positive. Okay, so hopefully you would know how to do this very easily. We're just going to say for every number in L, it contains only positives. Yes. So this means that if n is negative, then we return false. Otherwise, we return true. It does not return a list of integers. I don't know why I said that, or why I typed that. But yeah, so this returns true if the list contains only positive integers. Okay? And let's say we want to write another method that says like contains contains multiple of 5. So we give it a list of integers and we say that we want to return true if there's at least one value in the list that is a multiple of 5. Okay? So we're going to again loop through the list of numbers, and if the number is a multiple of 5, then we will return true. But if we get all the way through the list and we don't find one, then we return false. Okay? And then let's sort of flip the question and say contains. Let's say we want to write a method that says returns true if none of the numbers are positive. So let's say contains no if none of the numbers are positive. So it contains only negatives. So it contains no positives. Okay? So this is sort of the negation of this question. Okay? So we're going to return true if it contains no positives and false otherwise. Okay? So we will loop through the list of numbers, and if n is positive, then we'll return false because we've immediately falsified the condition. But if they're all negative, then we return true. And just note that I changed this n greater than 0 to be n is greater than or equal to 0. Okay? So hopefully you kind of see what the pattern is here. All of these return either true or false based on some particular query. Okay? In this case, the query is if it contains only positives. This here is if it contains exactly, not exactly one, if it contains at least one multiple of 5, and this one down here returns true if it contains no positive numbers. Okay? So these correspond to 3 different methods. The first one is all match. The second one is any match. The third is none match. Okay? And if you could probably guess, they all operate over streams, and they all receive a predicate. Okay? So we've talked, relentlessly about predicates before, but again, they're just lambda expressions, or they're just methods in general that receive some data and they return true or false. Or they may not even receive data. They just return true or false. Okay? So all match will return true if all the elements of the stream satisfy a predicate P. Okay? And false otherwise, but that's kind of implicit. And any match, as the name implies, returns true if any of the elements of the stream satisfy a predicate P. And none match returns true if none of the elements of the stream satisfy a predicate P. So hopefully you see where this is going. So let's create a list of integers. We'll just say list out of, let's say -4, -5, 2, 3, 0, 4. And then we'll just run each one of these through these 3 predicates. So for example, let's mimic this first one here. So we want to say, we're going to dot stream, of course, and we're going to say all match. And this will, so all match, any match, and none match are terminal operations because they resolve to a Boolean. Okay, so let's say that we want to return true, or this to resolve to true if it contains only positive. So we want all the elements to match the predicate, that if we give it a number, then it returns, or it is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so of course this is going to resolve to false because these two elements are present. Okay, so let's change this to any match. So this will say if any of the elements are greater than 0, then it will return true. Okay, and let's change this to none match. So here it will return true if none of the elements are positive, which in this case is false. So let's just remove all the positives and see that this will return true, and it does. Okay, if we change this to any match, of course, then this will return false. So hopefully you can kind of see that if a predicate satisfies all match, then it definitionally must be the case that any match holds true. Okay, so if all match on some stream S, then any match S. Okay, similarly, if none match S, then not any match S. So this means that if nothing satisfies some predicate S, then it's similarly saying that there won't be anything that satisfies S. Okay, so if you've done first order logic in, let's say, C241, or if you've heard of first order logic before, then this should all be very familiar. Okay, so this all just comes straight from predicate logic, and it's kind of interesting to see if there's a parallelism between the two. Okay, so any match, all match, none match are really, really nice methods, and I encourage you to use them if you're trying to determine if something contains, or if you want to examine a stream or a collection for some specific condition.